Imagine being charged with being drunk in charge when you don't even have the key. That is exactly the scenario that might happen if you're driving a car where your phone doubles as the key. So welcome back, but if you're new to me, I'm a barrister who helps you understand law. And just to make things a little bit interesting, make sure you watch all the way to the end because there's a bit of an Easter egg. An Easter egg, for those of you that are uninformed, is a little something hidden that you wouldn't otherwise see, and so you'll have to watch till the end to find out what it is. All I will say is that it's a bit of a game and there might be a bit of a prize involved, although I haven't decided what that is yet, so you'll have to wait for future videos to find out what that is as well. So this afternoon, when I'd finished some work and dealt with some sarcastic responses when somebody didn't want to give me the email address for official legal correspondence and I'd walked the dog, I was sent a message about what would happen if you were driving a Tesla or a similar car where your phone is the key and you might well be in charge of that vehicle. Of course, I'm talking about the offence of being drunk in charge of a vehicle, or over the prescribed limit of drink or drugs, or unfit to drive through drink or drugs, and you are in charge of that vehicle. Well, that's what we're going to discuss in this video. Now, quite unhelpfully, the law doesn't specifically define what being in charge of a vehicle is. Now, as useful as that might be, the courts just tend to interpret the facts at hand and to make a finding of fact as to whether or not you are in charge of that vehicle at the requisite time. For example, if you were the legal and lawful owner or you'd recently driven the vehicle, you're likely to be found in charge of that vehicle. Although one possible question raised in your defence is whether you had relinquished that charge to another person, let's say your significant other, family member or friend who was going to drive the vehicle instead. More usually, however, is if you are in the vehicle, whether that be in the driver's seat, the passenger seat, the back seat, or indeed in the boot, trying to fool the potentially overzealous police officers trying to charge you with being drunk in charge of a vehicle whilst you're just trying to sleep it off in the boot. But nonetheless, all of these circumstances taken into account, the court is going to make a finding of fact as to whether or not you are in control of that vehicle, meaning you'll be in charge and in control of that vehicle if you are, for example, nearby the vehicle, you have a way of gaining entry to the vehicle, you have a way of starting the vehicle, how far away you are from the vehicle, what you were doing at the relevant time. For example, if you were genuinely doing something else and not had the intention to drive, then the court might not find that you're in charge of the vehicle. For example, if your car is on a public road but you are inside your house, which is nearby, but you are in bed, then quite clearly you've probably got no intention to drive that vehicle, and unless you've been followed home and pretending to be asleep upstairs, you're not likely to be arrested and charged in the first place, and the court is less likely to find you in charge of the vehicle. But coming back to the point, when you don't have a normal key and instead you have your phone, if your phone is something that can open the vehicle and start the vehicle just by getting in it, just as you do a Tesla, you get into the vehicle with the phone. If you've linked your phone to the vehicle and your vehicle recognizes that your phone is now the key, then lo and behold, you will be in charge of that vehicle, even though you don't have the key with you. So ultimately, taking all these circumstances and facts and factors into account, the court is going to make a determination and a finding of fact as to whether or not you were in control and therefore in charge of that vehicle at the requisite time. Then, of course, it goes on to the question as to whether or not you've consumed drink or drugs above the legal limit. So there it is. I thought that was a very interesting question. If you have a vehicle that can be opened with your phone and can be started with your phone, it matters not that you have the key with you or not. So use this information as a warning, a bit of trivia, whatever you like, as long as you hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And so for that bonus game I mentioned, all I want you to do is drop a number in the comment section below as to how many times I said the word vehicle in this video. I might even give out a special prize if somebody gets it right and I eventually get round to counting them. Thanks for watching.